him down with no chance to defend himself and didn't even want to. He looked like he almost won to get knocked out.
Fight fans, welcome back.
If I'm there to get hit, then he'll hit me. But I'm not going to be there to get hit.
Next in our Unforgettable Nights series, a former heavyweight king intent on revenge.
You know, a guy that has a big heart, they always get hurt, so I didn't want to hurt him too bad.
Against a rock-solid puncher who loved upsetting the odds. When the big boys go to war, anything can happen. In a rematch labeled Payback or Playback, nobody anticipated what was about to go down.
I really want to fight. He's crying in his corner. I've never seen anything like this.
Welcome to a Motivedia presentation.
Going into the ring and fighting is a refuge for him. His bigger battles are always outside the ring.
Trying to screw up his courage or trying to make himself feel that he's in something big and that he has to do, but I think he's wasting energy here.
Entering the Wembley Arena ring in 1994, Lennox Lewis was unbeaten in 25 contests, making the fourth defense of his WBC heavyweight title.
Defending champion has home advantage, he's got height and reach advantage, and is unbeaten, whereas the challenger has got 5 defeats on his record.
Comfortable in his growing position as the UK's next big boxing hope, Lennox was closing in on the division's top names.
Canada's first gold medal in 56 years.
The 1988 Olympic gold medalist boasted the pedigree, the punch, and the poise to go far.
We have Britain's first world heavyweight champion. We now share part of the world, and we want the whole world, or Lennox wants to be undisputed world heavyweight champion.
A comprehensive points win over 49-fight veteran Tony Tucker,
First time in his career.
followed by knockout wins over domestic rival Frank Bruno in Cardiff, and a stateside shellacking of decent contender Phil Jackson, had enhanced Lewis's standing and championship credibility.
Lewis, after a couple of uppercuts, Jackson goes down and Mercanti has seen enough.
His next opponent was a man used to battling against the odds.
Known as the Atomic Bull.
Raised on the tough streets of Chicago, Oliver McCall was a talented sportsman who gravitated towards the noble art.
He's got it in the corner there, that might be it!
He's walked away from it.
Down goes Salemo.
Amateur success, coupled with 100 rounds sparring against the very best version of Iron Mike, had elevated this granite-chinned gatekeeper towards his biggest opportunity.
I come out the ring like I always done every fight I ever came through. Not going to the hospital. Not cut.
As fans salivated over the prospect of Lewis mixing with Tyson, Holyfield, and Bowe, little did we know that these huge showdowns were about to be pushed even further into the future.
No one can stop me. Lennox is the conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever.
4 months after demolishing Phil Jackson, the champion welcomed McCall to his turf. The Atomic Bull was primed to upset the strong fight favorite in front of a vociferous London crowd.
First of what's scheduled for 12 rounds of World Heavyweight Championship boxing.
In a division that offers the least margin for error, McCall rolled the dice and dropped the champion with a monster right hand.
Lewis unbeaten, remember, after 25 fights. Oh, he's got him! And that was the sucker punch that they worried about.
Lewis rose unsteadily and, despite his protestations, was stopped by the referee in front of stunned onlookers.
What an upset, and Lennox Lewis's career must now be in tatters. McCall says, I told you so, I told you so, reminiscent of Muhammad Ali. 29-year-old from Chicago has done what nobody has ever done before.
The referee kind of stopped the fight a bit premature. I'm heavyweight champion. I was heavyweight champion in the world, and I should have that respect.
Touch him up a little bit, he gonna get desperate. I knew the second round. I knew he was gonna load up with the right hand, and I was practicing all day long. The fight wasn't really getting on because I really didn't get hit, and I really wanted to actually get hit so I could really pour it on, but it didn't come to that. It was easier than I thought.
When Tyson is released from custody, we now know who he will fight. He'll be fighting a couple of guys getting a warm-up, but he will be fighting Oliver for the WBC champion.
It's one thing to act a little bit crazy, because then you're cloaked in mystery, but it's an entirely different thing to be crazy.
As Lewis trod the murky road to redemption, it would be over 2 years and 4 fights apiece before the pair met again.
There's a good right hand, and he's got him!
Much had happened in the intervening period.
And the man who was in the McCall corner The almost legendary Emmanuel Stewart has been brought in to try to pick up the pieces in Lennox Lewis's career.
You're blocking, you're throwing a hook. Right. Keep doing it because it's not landing, but it's moving him out off balance.
Short right
That's
hand
right, but you're moving him out balance when you throw that shot, okay?
Despite enjoying a knockout win over hard-punching future champion Oleg Muskayev, McCall had lost his WBC crown to UK hero Frank Bruno.
Lewis's jab has dominated the action so far.
Lennox had also beaten a heavy-handed competitor in the form of the charismatic Tommy Morrison.
He's getting very close to a stoppage here. You get that? Down goes Morrison again.
His march to regain the heavyweight championship continues.
And you heard the boos mixed in with cheers at Lennox's introduction. A lot of American fight fans just don't like him and don't buy his act.
Before a rugged points win over the ever-dangerous, merciless Ray Mercer.
Mercer landing a short right hand inside as he holds on to Lewis, and now Lewis is hurt by the right hand. Lennox not holding on. And a great right uppercut by Lewis. And Mercer comes back. Lewis trying to flurry. And that's going to do it.
A good, hard, tough fight between two big men.
For the winner on a split decision, Lennox Lewis.
So you think the way this fight turned out, it was a preparation for an eventual fight with Tyson whenever it occurs?
This is the reason why I took Ray Mercer. You know, he's a guy that comes and gives you enough pressure. And, you know, I had to prepare myself to deal with a guy that gives me no pressure.
What did you think of Lennox Lewis?
He's a great boxer and a good right-hand puncher. I don't want any parts of it.
It's been almost 2.5 years since Oliver McCall stunned Lennox Lewis and became a heavyweight titleist. Today, McCall struggles with the same problems he's faced most of his life: drug and alcohol abuse and run-ins with the law. If Lennox Lewis genuinely wants to return to the top, he must be impressive in his rematch with McCall.
The usual boxing political shenanigans had left the WBC title sitting vacant and waiting for one of these former holders to retrieve.
Oliver McCall all but closed his eyes, wound up, fired a big right hand, landed, and suddenly held a heavyweight championship of the world. In effect, the question has to be, was that one great lucky punch or the kind of thing that could happen again?
Well, it sure looks like he wants to fight. When one guy throws a punch in boxing and the other guy gets his jaw in the way, that's just boxing.
Lacking the home advantage of the first fight, Lennox Lewis arrived in Las Vegas confident of rematch success.
Lennox Lewis will win. He will not step into no right hands. He'll definitely go out there and do the job, and he's learned from his mistakes.
So it's not just important to win this fight, but we need to win it and look very impressive.
So I think that the idea of the last fight is totally wiped out now. This is a whole new day.
He won the coin flip because he has the right to come out second and now can make Lewis wait in the ring.
Oliver McCall, meanwhile, had been busy amassing a catalog of concerning misdemeanors outside of the ring and was in a treatment center in the lead-up to the bout.
Was arrested 3 times last year. In April, possession of marijuana in North Carolina. Police found crack and marijuana. In December, at a hotel in Nashville, Oliver threw a Christmas tree and spat at police.
And he's taking a lot of chances. He thinks that he can get away with certain things, and he thinks nobody's kind of looking. You know, how many times do you have to go through that to get the message?
Tonight he battles Lennox Lewis. Tomorrow he continues a fight which is probably still bigger than he will acknowledge. Well, he decided not to make Lewis wait after all as he runs into the ring.
The Atomic Bull, Oliver McCall.
Round 1 begins. Emmanuel Stewart said that he expected Lewis to be tentative until he shakes off the memories of his loss to McCall in 1994.
Assured by promoter Don King that his charge was ready for action, the co-challenger looked composed in the early going, trying to maneuver around Lewis's ramrod jab and work against the ropes.
McCall effectively followed the fight plan put forth by Stewart. Does he have another plan tonight? Hard right hand by Lewis. And he just misses an uppercut.
Enjoying moderately successful spells of pressure, McCall's respected veteran trainer George Benton was happy with his man's activity.
Don't be anxious trying to hit him with nothing big. Just use the jab. You'll see the big shot. You understand? Now, but stay on top of the guy. Keep him going back. Don't you go back.
Nothing could have foreshadowed the sudden public meltdown McCall was about to endure.
McCall starting to look around and mug for the crowd as though he's either bored or frustrated. One thing he's not doing for the moment is winning rounds. Good combination by Lewis. Left hook and a right hand over the top. McCall dancing as if to say, you can't hurt me.
Significantly reducing his already sparse punch output, Oliver's emotional turmoil was laid bare for all to see as he began turning his back, crying in the ring, and refusing to return to his corner in between rounds.
McCall is doing a very strange thing here, folks.
He's walking around.
He's wandering around the ring. He hasn't gone to his corner, and he's trying to figure out what's gone wrong. The people in his corner are looking at him and wondering what's going on.
No stranger to emotional outbursts, McCall was allowed to box on, although the former world champion was relying on his formidable beard to absorb Lewis's bombs.
Right hand by Lewis. McCall able to take it even though he had his hands down. It's got to be a difficult thing for Lewis. He's aiming punches at a sitting duck here.
Lennox increased the tempo, and referee Mills Lane had seen enough.
Lane will allow this to go on. And that's going to be it.
Well, I've seen some strange things in boxing. That is surely one of the strangest.
McCall was escorted from the ring, receiving the derision of an angry and confused audience.
Credit, we're very upset with what happened. We'll have a full investigation, but he will not get paid tonight.
I thought at first he was playing possum, and then he just wouldn't defend himself, and I mean, it was just no use for it to go on.
Exempt from blame, Lennox Lewis had gained his revenge in remarkable circumstances.
You know, when he started walking away, I thought it was a joke at first. I thought he was trying to null me into something, but then, you know, it kept on going, so I just picked up the pace, because he doesn't have enough skill that can contend with me. The main thing, I just went out there and just, you know, put my jab out, and he couldn't really contend with that, and, you know, basically gave up.
McCall's emotional instability should have kept him away from the glaring spotlight of the ring. Instead, miscommunication, plus the egregious presence of promoter Don King, meant he was cleared to fight.
So that has removed a lot, and it's a very, very bright future, Sue. And I just wonder where Marcus Planton is, because he's the guy that we're looking for now.
Despite offering a disjointed explanation, McCall's purse was withheld. In early 1997, with Oliver's behavior becoming increasingly erratic, his wife took out an emergency custody order, and McCall was declared mentally ill.
There's no need to bring it up now, but it was some other stipulations that took place because of my behavior outside the ring that really hindered me from being the best I could be.
Lewis went from strength to strength, defending and unifying his belts. Despite another KO loss, Lennox's body of work will stand the test of time.
Starting to get his jab more powerful.
Oh! Wonderful shot by Lennox Lewis! And he's laid out! He's stopped! It is over! Revenge! Redemption for Lennox Lewis!
Conquering mental demons was always a battle for Oliver McCall, who continued his career until as recently as 2019, although he never troubled the world's best heavyweights again. A strong, capable fighter with a concrete chin, McCall's legacy will always revolve around one of boxing's most memorable moments.
I'm right up there with the best. I sparred with the best. I took the best. I've never been knocked down, knocked out. Bring them on. Riddick Bowe, any of the top undefeated guys. I'm ready to be the new hitman and knock them all off.
Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun. And I say, it's all right. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Little darling, it won't be nearly that long until the next Motivedia presentation.